Hello and welcome to Business Meditations Day 7. Today, I've got a question for you. What is the one element that is absolutely necessary in the art of storytelling that must exist if you want to keep your audience at the edge of their seat? And by audience for you, I could mean a large number of people in an auditorium, but it could also mean your coworkers or employees at a meeting. It could mean a client just sitting across the table. For all of them, the element is absolutely the same. It is tension. Storytelling is a process of managing tension. And because it's always about that, there is a shape that all stories in some way take. And the shape is this. That's what I want to share with you today. The shape starts in relative ease. You've got your protagonist, your hero, the subject of your story on a journey. They might be going somewhere physically. They might actually be driving along the road. They might be going somewhere in their life, metaphorically. Or their journey might be just sitting on the couch. Whatever it is, it starts at relative ease from a tension standpoint. And then something happens. They run into an obstacle, and that obstacle increases the tension immediately. Tension spikes. And then they have to do something with it. They've got to get over that obstacle, and so they struggle with it. And the tension lowers and raises over time until eventually they find their solution, and poof, the tension releases, and they can continue on. So here's the thing. If you establish a likable character on a journey that's interesting at the very outset of your story, and then you create tension by interrupting that story with an obstacle, you've got your audience hooked. They will not leave you until you resolve that story. I had a scenario where I was delivering a presentation on storytelling, and I began by sharing the beginning of a story from my life from years ago. And it was a 60 to 90 minute presentation. And at the end of that whole presentation, I thought I'd done a great job. We got to Q&A. And I had two people at the same time say, "What happened to Rusty?" Because I'd never resolved that. They sat through the entire presentation wrapped at the edge of their seat, waiting for me to resolve the story that I hadn't even planned to resolve, because I was just using the example for the opening. But it was there. They absolutely needed that to get resolved. You can do the same thing in your presentation. Start by establishing a really positive character and give them an obstacle that gets in the way of them completing or continuing on their journey. It's not a difficult thing, but it does take thought. When somebody gives you an opportunity to share a story, avoid what is very common, very natural for us to do, of just sort of describing something. Recognize your job in that situation is to manage tension in a way that keeps your audience transfixed. You can do it. If you have any questions or thoughts on this, please leave them in the comments below. I'd love to answer and continue this conversation. Over the next few days, we'll talk about each of these elements, these 4 different parts of the story in greater detail. I hope you'll enjoy that. Please, if you do like this, like, share, and we'll talk to you soon. Cheers.